go out and come back in.
You always running your mouth.
Because you always doing it. Hey, y'all.
Just be
Ladies and gentlemen,
quiet. Be
you're now
quiet,
tuned
B.
into Naughty or Nice. Let's go.
Me don't want no fake love, me only want the real deal. Me don't want no fake love, me only want the real deal. Me don't want no fake love, me only want the real deal.
Shelly
Me don't want no
Live
fake love,
and
me only
V-Love
want the
Bird.
real deal.
Have you ever met a sister with her shit together? Maintaining, never complaining, trying to make shit better. She's got a real good life with the right frame of mind. She's the real deal, baby, and she know how to grind. On the job or in the bedroom, baby, the truth. And with her by your side, homeboy, you can't lose. Just slip on the dress and go to work like a pro. Then bring that ass home and drop it down to the floor. Educated, sophisticated, conversation so deep. She's a lady in that world, but a freak in the sheets. Educated, sophisticated, conversation so deep. She's the lady in that world, but a freak in the sheets.
Shelly Live and V-Love Bird.
Shelly Live and V-Love Bird.
Shelly Live and V-Love Bird.
Yeah, yeah.
Shelly Live and V-Love Bird.
Shelly Live and V-Love Bird.
Shelly Live and V-Love.
Hey, ladies.
Welcome, everybody, to Shelly Live and Be Love Bird.
With our special
Here we
guest,
are in the building.
with our special guest today, Miss Renetta Hamrick. Hey, Renetta.
Hi, Miss Renetta.
Hello, everybody. Hi.
So nice to have you chiming in to speak on behalf of this lovely school thing that we got going on here. I'm gonna
Wow.
let you ladies take the wheel and run this.
Okay, let's see. There's a few people in. We're gonna wait for a couple more people to get in. Did you want to do the announcement about the little giveaway
I can talk.
for a minute, and then I need to
Just
quiet.
messing. Well, we didn't kind of confirm it. You didn't say yay, nay, and you didn't tell me a number.
I said I don't care.
You don't
I
want
mean,
to.
we ain't sending them to no Roof Chris or nothing like that. But I mean, look, I'm on a Taco Bell budget.
You are so cheap.
I'm joking, y'all.
Cheap. Well, we'll wait until like some people start chiming in, because we did come up kind of a little bit earlier. Give people a little time to get in here, and the ones that are here already, do what I say do, like, share, and subscribe. Go to Naughty or Nice 22 on IG, and do what makes us happy, which is
Right.
this lovely page. I hope all you lovely, beautiful ladies had a great day today.
Can anybody hear me?
We can all hear you, as always.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Really? I can hear you. Can you hear me, Renetta?
Yes,
Renetta?
Hang on, y'all. 1 second.
And she always says it's my mic. Sorry, people. She has this technical difficulties right before the show. She can't hear me, so I can talk cash money shit right now. She's trying to figure it out. Did you fix it?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Hey, David. Hey, Mecca.
Yes.
We can hear you, baby. Can you hear us? I don't know why. We can hear.
Wait a minute, y'all. This happens every time. I don't know if it's because of our storm or hers, but I can't hear anybody.
Did you?
Can y'all hear me?
Look at your phone.
Yes, I can hear you, Ravonda.
I can't hear y'all.
She can't hear us.
Oh, okay.
Come out and come back in. Oh, shit. Hold on. Sorry. There you go. Now she need to pour herself back into the scene, because she be swearing it's my computer, honey. I know it ain't mine. I just be listening to her.
I decided to do the iPhone because the Chromebook was acting crazy.
Yeah, it's been a good day here, but I came in early and it was like hot to heaven up in here, honey. My breaker had kicked. I don't know how I did that, but it was hot.
Oh, wow.
So I'm still kind of getting over that flash I was having. I was about to fall out. Hi, everybody that's Hey, we're waiting for V Love Bird to
Okay,
get back on the scene.
I'm live.
Can you hear now?
Yeah, I can hear y'all now. I don't know what happened. But anywho, hey.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me now,
Yeah, I
Ravonda?
can hear y'all fine. Hey, Q. He
Hi,
said,
James, David, those that are here. Hi, everybody.
okay, so y'all know what the topic, did y'all already announce the topic already?
No, we've done nothing. We always wait for you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that because I know what I'm talking about. Anyway,
I love you.
today's topic is how do you feel about the reopening of schools in August, and will you be sending your child back to school? Q said you send your child out into that uncertainty. You are, I don't know what that means, an asshole. Sorry, not sorry. That's what he said.
Okay.
So, me personally, I don't think they should reopen the schools just yet because, like Q just said, it's too many uncertainties. It's like a lot that you have to deal with that they're not taking into consideration, and I feel like they're putting, political gain and politics in front of safety, and that's just not cool on any type of level. And Renetta is an educator and in the school system, so she can kind of tell y'all more about what's going on and what she feels about or how she feels about going back to the school system. Hey Sam and hey Gerald. Thank you, Gerald.
Okay. North Carolina has redone another reentry. Mm-hmm. So at first, everything was going to be started August 17th. It's still August 17th. At first, they were going to do AB days, which meant some kids would go to school on an A day, and then some kids would go to school on a B day. So all the kids would not be together. But now they have changed that. Now you are going to be 4 weeks, the first 4 weeks of school, North Carolina, all kids will be remote learning. You'll be at home on your Chromebooks. And then in September, you will go to school. So 4 weeks from August 17th, that's when they actually go to school. If it's feasible.
Okay.
Now, there is a plan C. The plan C is, of course, you do not have to send your children to school. You can call your administrator or your principal at your specific school and say, I choose plan C. And that means you will be responsible to getting your children's assignments on their Chromebooks and making sure they're done by remote learning. And your teachers will be prepared just like they were in March to do the Zoom meetings and everything to catch you up with any missing work or work that you have to do by remote learning. That's plan C. That's still in place. But however, right now, the first 4 weeks, they will be doing that, and then they're going to see if kids and teachers can move back into the classroom. Yes.
Okay. And with that being said about the alphabet, now, how is that going to work for parents who have children in the household with different last names? Because therefore they'll be sending their children to school on different dates, which is an inconvenience. I think they should, if they're going to do it, they should do it by households because, a lot of kids don't have the same last name. They got the same mother or whatever the case may be. But if they have different last names, that means if a parent works, they have to make arrangements 4 days a week instead of 2 days a week, or however they were going to do it at first when they were saying, 2 days in school or whatever the case may be.
Right.
So, so that's a whole other dilemma for parents. You know what I'm saying? The ones that are still working. So,
right.
it's just too many. It's just
okay.
The
AB days. Okay, the AB days mean not necessarily the alphabet in the child's name. The AB days are the certain amount of kids in the school on this particular day. So the AB days doesn't mean the child's alphabetical name. It's like this group is A, this group is B. That's what it was going to be anyway. They will fluctuate back and forth. So say like if you're group A, that means you go to school. For example, I'm not saying that's how it is. For example, group A would be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You see what I'm saying now?
I got.
And then B would be Tuesday, Thursday. Then the next week it would flip. So group B would be Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Mhm.
Then group A would be Tuesday, Thursday. It would flip like that. So they would still have a school setting. But that's not so right now. Because like I said, North Carolina is only going to do 4 weeks remote learning and see if COVID is still spiking, which now the numbers are
It
still
is.
rising.
Right. A lot.
So that there's an issue with that, and there's a lot to think about. Parents really have to think about this, like you said, Ravonda. They really have to think about their jobs. You really have to think about, oh my God, I have to make a choice between
Everything.
my child
Right.
being exposed
Mhm.
and my child needing education.
Mhm.
And not
only
even that.
teachers
Not
too.
Yep. And teachers and parents that have little kids. What about like the ones that's going to kindergarten and first grade, and their parents can't just leave them at home and they got to go to work?
Right. But you know,
Right, exactly, because it's mandatory that they wear the mask. Now that's to me, that's the main challenge, because you're gonna tell a child
that's not gonna
you
work.
got to keep this on. And I know we're
Right.
I think what I've been told that we're gonna have meetings to make sure that these kids know that they have to wear their mask. Now, you and all, look, I'm a parent. You guys are parents. We'll see if it works. However, me myself, I feel like, ooh, this is gonna be like Playland, and they're thinking they're
Right.
gonna be this is a play mask. They thinking that it's Halloween. It's not. It's a life or death situation to keep that mask on. So it's very imperative that parents make sure they tell their child that they have to keep this mask on, except for while they're eating, because it's only scheduled times when you can take it off. And of course, number one of them things would be to eat.
Hey, Zandra. Zandra said Catawba County schools will use Plan B. We are different than Hickory City schools. But I said what I said about the kids in the same home because I was talking to a parent, and she had received a letter saying that they were going by the alphabet. So if they were going by the alphabet, her kids would be going to school 2 totally different times. Which she was saying, like, what am I supposed to do because I have to work? And she still has young kids.
Right.
And then, back on the mask thing, if you got little bitty kids, kindergarten, first grade, they're not gonna keep no mask on all day. We don't even like to wear them all day. So how do you expect a child to keep a mask on all day? That's just ridiculous. And not to mention, the transportation, like we were talking about earlier. Who's gonna sanitize these buses in between picking these kids up, dropping off, picking up all day long? You have to have cleaning crews in place for these kids. Now, elementary school is different from middle and high school because elementary schools stay in the same classroom all day. However, middle schools and high schools change classes. Who's going to be cleaning these classes in between each class? That's a whole another topic too.
Whole nother topic.
Right. And they're not going to hire a cleaning crew to go in here and rooms after each and every class on a 7.5, 8-hour day. They barely was doing it before. So how do you expect to do it now? And then if you have only janitors, that's too much work. And then most schools have maybe 1 or 2. They can't do all that work by themselves between classes. You have to hire professional people or, other businesses to come in and do that. So, and then, with these kids, we don't know how many kids live with their parents and grandparents. And then the risk of them transmitting something and taking it back
home
to an elderly grandparent or parent who already has an compromised immune system. You know what I'm saying? So it's just too many discrepancies and too many ifs, that can happen. And like you said, Renetta, and Shelly, how it's spiking in Atlanta. The other day they had 4,000 cases in one day.
Yep.
In one day. And now here in the county that Renetta and I live in, it's been declared a red zone, which means our rates are going up rapidly as well, where it was low. But if people keep their ass at home and do what they're supposed to do, that it could be at least controlled a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? People act
Right.
like they gotta go on vacation, they gotta do this, they gotta do that. And you're not only thinking about yourself, you're thinking about everybody around you. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's just my opinion on that. So, Shelley, what do you think? What about the schools in Georgia?
They was doing it kind of what Netta said. They was going to do A-B zones, and then they canceled that out. We just got an email today saying they're going to do, to the till September, and then revisit it. But then, like, what I don't like is, like, we've paid our, upfront our senior dues, but for Jalen senior dues are paid or whatever, and he's not gonna enjoy any of his senior year because everything that he was supposed to do, he's no longer doing. And I think that's not right. But we social distance, we trying to do what we're supposed to do. And he gets out of school at 11 o'clock anyway, but Jalen goes to immigration school, they call it. So whereas like all these different nationalities, is Chinese, Indian, Africans, all nationalities, and then their parents are pretty much immigrants. So for him, ain't no telling what they got going on in his school, honey. Like they probably just need to stay out the school zone, period, because it's too much. It's too much of that in his school already. Like I wouldn't even recommend anybody going back to school at Jalen school, not right now, because of the kind of school he goes to. But they're doing the same. They're kind of, I think most of the states are kind of piggybacking off each other when it comes to how long they're going to stay at home. It's going to be a lot of strain on a lot of parents that has younger kids that cannot stay home, and their jobs aren't offering them any, grace period on their time and attendance. I mean, it's going to take a toll on a lot of people. It's going to be a lot of movement going on when schools start.
And what you just said, that's another problem. They can't do it based on state by state or county by county because everybody has different results. You know what I'm saying? Some states and some counties outbreak is much higher. So common sense would tell you if you have much higher rates, don't open stuff back up. As opposed to the schools that have like really low rates, you want to keep it that way. At least get it more under control before you send these kids back to school. Period. So, and it shouldn't be, in my opinion, it shouldn't be based on state to state or county to county. It should be a national thing. So everybody is on one accord. You know what I'm saying? Because evidently it's going to be around for a minute. So if you got all these people that's like saying, like you're in Georgia, you say DeKalb County say we're going back to school. Gwinnett say, well, we ain't going back to school. You got Forsyth County and the city of Atlanta saying we're not going back or we're going back. Everybody needs to be on one accord so it won't be any confusion for anybody, like they did when they shut the schools down.
But you know what too is going to be another thing that's going to be hard? When parents got to actually teach their kids, because half the parents can't teach their kids the lessons that they learn.
That's true.
Because you're talking about learning online, virtual learning. The average first, second, third, fourth grader cannot sit that long at a computer and just comprehend everything that's being zoomed into them on all these different channels. So are your kids really learning? Are they still getting the education that they need? And can their parents even teach them? You see what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot.
Sam said, during times like these, your support system needs to be put in place. That's true. Hey, Ernest. Hey, Bob. And Nita is an educator too. Nita said, that's what they're telling us they're going to do. That's what they're telling us they're going to do in Virginia, but we know better as teachers. And hey, Sylvia, she said, we're not sending our kids to school, homeschool. I don't blame you. And then Zandra says, there are more questions than answers, in my opinion. Zandra, I totally agree. That's what I keep on saying. And Ernest said, and hell no, my youngest are not going to school. See, Trump wants to send my kids, but he won't send his own. Facts. Sam said, the longer this goes on, it gets clearer and clearer that the GOP puts the economy ahead of life. Absolutely. It's a money thing. And then not only that, they're threatening if teachers don't go back to school, cutting federal funding, which, most schools are already struggling anyway with financial needs and things like that. So if you want to cut funding for just because a person rather protect their life than going back to a school and protect these kids. That's just crazy. It just makes no kind of sense. Nita said, we're doing virtual, but special ed and ESOL are supposed to go in 4 days a week in person. Why is that, Nita? Why won't they do virtual learning for all of them? I know with special ed is different, but you can still implement the same things. You know
The
what I'm
same
saying?
process. Yeah, that's not right.
Hey, Orlando, he said, what happens if one teacher catches a case? Does each kid the teacher teaches get quarantined, or then kids in their other classes as well? That's what I'm saying. That's what we're talking about, Orlando. It's just too many unknowns for them to want to reopen these schools. Sam said, wonder what the contingency plan is for that, Orlando. I don't know, Sam. And Anita said, referring to the cleaning. Oh, okay. Right, Ernest. I believe in safety first, because at the end of the day, when you got all these kids in the classroom, first of all, you don't know who these kids have been exposed to before they get to school. You don't know who the other people been exposed to before they get to school. Your kid is well when they go to school, and then when they come home, maybe a day, 2 or 14 days later, they're having symptoms, and then everybody in the house is sick. Then what? And then there's still not enough testing to see if a
Right.
person tested positive, and they have a lot of false negatives. So you don't know one way or the other, or which way to go. It's just crazy. It don't make sense. Sylvia says some of the teachers and bus drivers are afraid of the kids also. They don't want to take it home. Exactly. And Zan said, I asked my principal and he didn't answer if we got sick. There you go, Xander.
He probably don't have the answer, honey. He probably really don't know what to tell you.
He know what
Everybody's
he
kind
That's
of,
exactly right. They don't have
they don't have the answers.
they don't have an answer for you. They don't have any answer for you unless what they because what they tell them is what they tell us.
Mhm.
And as far as the cleaning of the buses, what we have been told is that they will be cleaning the buses at least 3 times a day. And of course, that's when they get off. When they get on, they get off. While the buses are down, and then of course once they get back off again to go home. That's if any kids on there at all.
Right.
And as far as the classrooms, the janitorial staff is going to be
Busy.
working
Overtime.
constantly.
Busy. Xandra said he doesn't have answers. So,
Because now there will not be any the chairs that we have in the classroom, they cannot be made of cloth. They have to be vinyl or leather. They can no longer be cloth chairs in a room.
so you could spray them off and send.
So, right, and wipe them down easy. That makes sense.
Xandra said some teachers are wondering if we get sick, do we have to use our sick days or workers' comp? And a lot of teachers, I can't remember exactly.
Hey, Xandra.
It might have been in Texas where I was watching CNN, and one of the teachers said, whatever, have the unions and stuff for teachers, was saying that she was talking to fellow teachers and they were like writing out their wills. Like,
that's terrible.
Right. Like, you don't even know how to take that. You trying to go.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And you thinking ahead for your family and writing out wills because they're forcing you to do something that they know is not right, and
that's not working.
Happening. Nita said that's the same thing we said. All my students came on Zoom every Tuesday as they were supposed to. Right now, they're not telling us whether it's just autism, intellectually disabled, or all special kids. But you are putting the most vulnerable health-wise special ed students in school with students who are in the area codes where the COVID numbers are up. That's crazy. It's crazy. Sam said we're talking about public schools, correct? Yes, Sam.
Correct.
If so, to build a portal for children to learn from select teachers should be an easy task. Well, Sam, with that being said, what about the students who don't even have access to internet?
Right.
Or don't have computers? You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of families who just can't afford that. So if they're doing virtual learning and these parents aren't able to provide that for the kids, why haven't they put something in place with one of these cable companies to say, well, listen, all these homes with children need to have Wi-Fi and a computer in this house so that these kids can continue learning. They haven't even said anything about that. So, Renetta, what if the child doesn't have access to it? Don't have a computer and don't have access to
Okay,
the
what happened? When COVID hit in March, because you know everything stopped March 13th and March 16th, we were home and been home ever since. So what happened was every child, I'm gonna speak for Hickory Public Schools because I don't know what Newton and Catawba County did, so I can only go from Hickory Public Schools. So there were because we're one county, but we're three different school systems.
right.
So it's Hickory Public Schools, Catawba County, and Newton. Okay.
Right.
So when COVID hit in March, here, there were Chromebooks to every kid. Every kid got a Chromebook. If they did not have internet access, they were provided a Wi-Fi hotspot.
Okay.
They were provided a Wi-Fi hotspot. And Spectrum gave
Free
Wi-Fi access to those parents who could not afford or did not have Wi-Fi access.
Right.
Ravonda can attest to this because I posted on it several times. If you go back in my feed, I had kids here. I took in several kids from my school,
right,
that needed access to Wi-Fi because I have Wi-Fi, and made sure they did their work. I stayed right there on them on the Chromebooks, Zoom with their teachers, text with their teachers, made sure they had what they needed. But that was just me. That's just who I am because I was concerned about those students falling in between the cracks.
right.
So we did social distancing. I had them spread out where they could be in my apartment, and made sure they did their work up until everything was done. But that was just me. I can't speak for any other educator. That was just me to make sure the kids got their work done. And because when they got their grades, it wasn't the regular grades. It had to be PC, which meant they passed no problem. You know,
Right.
Oh, there was WC with a stipulation, or they were on the verge of failing. So that was whole another issue that teachers had to deal with on the spectrum of grading. So that was very stressful as well. So, but all in all, to say that the Spectrum, like I said, Spectrum did step up to the plate and gave hotspots or gave Wi-Fi to those students, to those parents that needed to have Wi-Fi access for them to complete their work.
Okay. I commend you for that, Renetta, because you are, like you said, just one person. And, you know, everybody doesn't have that or want to even do it. They want to go to their job and they want to go home. But there's a lot who do, you know what I'm saying? And you're one of those people. But, you know, just say for the kids that really need it, you know, and it's just, I guess it's just unfortunate that, you know, everybody doesn't think the same way. You know, if you got room and you can help a child, pull them in and help them. But people are just so afraid of getting sick, you know, that they don't even want to risk that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then they may even have underlying health issues and, you know, bring this, you know, this, that, and the third or what have you. So I commend you for that. That's awesome. Orlando said,
that speaks a lot.
Orlando said, imagine when flu season starts. Right. And that's really just around the corner from them trying to reopen.
Them trying to put it back in school.
Anita said they would have to shut down the entire school if one kid gets it. Right. And it's bound to happen. Sylvia said, do you really believe that? They don't even want to sweep the bus. Sweeping them down is a joke. Maybe the beginning, but it won't last. I agree with that. That's what I said. They're not going to do it. They're not going to hold up to the end because just think, like I said before, you know, they barely want to do it on a regular basis when everything was okay. And can you imagine them having to do it for each class?
Each time, yeah.
Throughout the day and all the classrooms they have and all the students, even if it's on an A and B schedule, that's still a lot of students. regardless. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
they're not gonna do it. Nita said they gave our students laptops if the parents came to pick them up. Wow.
That's what they did in Atlanta. They gave the kids a laptop, but a lot of the kids in Atlanta, they was struggling anyway, because you have kids that have learned, like they don't learn. You have the kids you have the higher achievers, you have the middle kids, and then you have the kids that just were barely passing anyway. And then you're
Right.
telling them to go to virtual learning, and they can't grasp it, virtual learning.
Or the students are challenged. Yeah. Sam said,
Very challenged.
isn't Charter giving them free internet? That's what Renetta was saying, Sam. Spectrum did it for the kids, the families around here who needed it. Now the others, and I think Charter was doing something, but Charter and Spectrum are one and the same now. So they were helping out as much as they could. Anita said in Virginia, once the kids were given laptops and they received Wi-Fi hotspots as well. Okay, that was good. Hey, Keandra. Keandra said, Orlando, when flu season begins, it will be very hard to know the difference between COVID and the flu. It's going to be very scary. Right.
Hmm. Yep, it's going to be very hard. You think they had a test now, honey? They ain't gonna have no test.
Nothing. And Sylvia said, just don't trust it, just words, and that's true, Sylvia, because they'll tell you what they want you to hear, but when the time comes, proof is in the pudding, and you're going to see
Right.
fast that they're not going to do or adhere to what they're putting out here for them to do. We all know that. So, it's just, it's tragic, y'all. It's really tragic. Anita said, we have some teachers like speech and counselors that go to more than one school. If one of their children in their school gets sick and they get it, they could take the virus into at least 3 or 4 other schools. That's a whole another topic to think about.
And that's a whole nother situation. Yep.
Yeah. Xander said the president wants to cut funding for testing. Right. Oh, Lord, y'all. This is like, it's just, to me, it's just unreal how a person can be so selfish and just straight senseless, for one, and
Right.
just put all these lives, even kids' lives, at stake just for political gain. That just don't make sense to me. But that's why everybody got to get out and vote, because if y'all don't, and if he in there one more term, we really going to hell in a handbasket, for real.
Well, every immigrant won't be in the state, that's for sure. He'll get them out quick. I might be going on that boat too.
He didn't do it this term. Didn't do it, snatch kids from their parents. But Xandra said, well, I already saw that. Hey, Jeffrey. Orlando said, so many viruses have COVID traits. That's true. This is like even
Right.
before COVID came into play, when you have the flu and when you have pneumonia, guess what? It affects the lungs. So they're testing for COVID, but we don't even know exactly what they're looking for. You know what I'm saying? Like, the lady the other day, she has the second strand, which is like more deadly than the first strand. And it was like a deadly form of pneumonia in both of her lungs. She tested for COVID 3 times, and she worked in the hospital and she was negative. And then they finally called her from the hospital she worked in and told her that 3 or 4 to 6 people had passed away and died. And she was like, they were like, rest. She said, but rest will kill you. You got to keep up and make yourself move when you don't want to move, because when you just lay there, it just takes over your body. And I think I sent you the video. And I mean, it was sad. It was sad what she was going through.
I saw that.
And they're not looking at this. And then you're telling people not to wear masks. Then you have these people that don't want to wear masks. I went out to the store the other day, y'all, and it was so many people with just no masks, is touching all over stuff and doing I was like, that's the simplest shit in the world to do. Put a mask on and go on about your day. What is the big deal if you're going to be safe and keep from infecting or making somebody else sick? That's simple. Go ahead, Renetta.
Can we say something about that? I'm glad you touched on that. And I saw this myself in the store. PSA, all store managers, please let your employees use paper towel per time you clean your cards. I have seen too many times that people are saving the paper towels they use to re-clean the carts. That's absurd. If you're gonna put the same towel, you don't do that when you clean your own bathroom at home.
Right.
Right.
So
That's
why
true.
are you going to use the same cloth that you use to clean another cart? So this is just me. I can't speak for anybody else, but Renetta, I take that same spray because I know what the spray is, awesome, or either some kind of bleach that they mix,
Fabuloso or something like
like they
that,
used to do in daycares. Right, something like that to kill bacteria. I take that spray and I get that the sanitized wipe that comes out, you know where it's at the door right there. I take that sanitized clean sanitized wipe and that spray and re-clean the cart I use. That's ridiculous. So people watch yourselves. People are crazy not wanting to wear masks, but you need to watch that too because that's still passing bacteria, germs, COVID around.
But then on the flip side of that, you have the mask on, but a lot of people aren't wearing the gloves. They're still, I mean, I would assume like I'm just gonna say like for instance, Kroger here, they have the mask on, they wiping the carts down when you're coming in, but them carts are moving constantly. And then you have 2 or 3 employees that has to do this constantly every time somebody touch, and you got young kids doing this at that. Them young kids ain't trying to stress themselves by wiping them carts down, honey.
Mm-mm. Well, I take my 9% disinfectant wipes with me to the store, to the gas station, everywhere I go, because I
You
have
know, my spray's in my car, so I spray constantly. But
listen, I
yeah.
got Lysol in my car, antibacterial wipes, car, because I be having my
So,
gas.
people have to be proactive too, because a lot, you got to realize you have teenagers, young kids working in grocery stores, shops, parking lots, wherever they are, they're working. They're young. They're not like in this mindset, like this is real. You know what I mean? They're like, okay, they just want me to do some extra or some extra types of. They're thinking the mask are like like a fashion statement. They putting diamonds and rhinestones and teeth and all kinds of stuff on them now. But I don't think that they're paying attention to what's really going on, like with this whole situation. I think they're just looking at it like, oh,
Oh,
this is cool, but it's not that serious.
hold on, Sally. Because I don't went there with the blinged out and the words, but that's just who I am. I'm coordinated with my outfit
Your
style,
outfit.
but also like the one I had as a human. I have one. I have a mask and it's yellow and it says human.
Right.
There's messages in my mask.
I think for the kids, it's more fashion. Like, I have a couple of different ones that have a couple of
Yeah.
different stuff. But, we know that you're supposed to wear them. These kids, honey, like my little baby that's 3, she got it on. She don't understand why. She just know, mommy say put it on. You know what I mean? If you give her 2 seconds, she going to pull it off her face. Because even
Right.
the average grown people, that's, it gets hot in there. It gets to itch in your mouth and all kinds of stuff. So if we grown people can't keep it on, imagine asking a teacher to keep it on the whole time she's in school, the students to keep it on the whole time they sitting in class. It's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. It's gonna be one little old mess.
Girl, I've been in the grocery store.
I know. I know. It's awful. It's awful.
Sam said 45 is showing us exactly who he's always been. Just didn't pay attention to the recording. Well, no, Sam, you're right. He did show exactly who it was. People chose not to see it, chose not to believe it. But he said it when he came in, all the foul shit. Where did the echo come from? All the foul stuff he was doing before he got elected. He just, and then he saw that he could get away with it. He just took it and ran. Because 44 would have never got by what fraction of the shit he's doing. Period. Orlando said, Kel, one of my employees sneezed and said it's just allergies. All it is. Said, if one of ours gets it, where would the schools be? You own your own. That's true, but for real.
Mm-hmm.
Orlando said, Yes, we coach our employees. Okay. Sam said sunlight, movement, vitamin C. Right. And Sylvia said keep the kids at home. I agree. And Orlando said, now I did have to give my aunt a tip because she had her math style she had up. That's how she had up. Look.
I can't with you. I can't even laugh with you right now. You're a mess, Orlando.
Nita said they told us in Virginia teachers might have to clean desks between classes, in the hallway, walk high school students to the bathroom, plus teach and the spray you put on the desk have to get 5 minutes before you wipe it off. Well, the kids will be in class before we can get the desk wiped down. Exactly, because you got to change classes. Why is the echo there?
Look at your phone.
But yeah, so you know, I don't know. Okay. Talk.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to keep her in. Like I'm looking at the screen. So excuse me. There you go. Can you hear us, Netta?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, we can hear you. Sorry about that. We
Okay.
lost her connection, y'all.
Okay. All right.
But Nita was saying they want the teachers to wipe everything down between classes and let it sit 5 minutes. But she's saying by the time they get all done, the other students will come to class when they're changing class, which makes no sense. So you won't have everything wiped down the next class anytime.
Yeah, and teachers ain't gonna keep doing that. No way. You already know these teachers. They're not gonna keep that up. No one's gonna keep that up.
Nope. They sure are not.
That. These are the stuff that they're asking. They're putting a lot. First of all, the teachers are underpaid. They're putting the teachers under a lot of stress.
Yep.
The average classroom in Atlanta is overflowed as it is with children. So you're talking about, and that's the one you got to think of the kids when the bell rings, the ones that actually leave the class, and then you have the stagnant ones. So you can't even start your wipe down. What teacher do you know is really going to take the time and effort, and this is as an awesome teacher, that's going to go and wipe stuff down thoroughly every period?
No.
It's not going to happen. It's going to be a disaster. But I guess seeing is believing. Sometimes you got to see before you say this is not going to work.
So Renata, how many students are you in the classroom? Are you at charter?
What I've been told, I will have 4 students, and so at that time we just be doing what we have to do per period, and I just be following along with my other teacher, and go from there. So we're just going to be in that room.
Okay.
And then the social distancing between the desk from the kids.
That is correct.
Gonna be interesting. I don't care how you slice it. It's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anita said classes overflowing up here. She said classes are overflowing up here too, Shirley. Sam said the man was publicly endorsed by David Duke. Exactly. Head of the KKK. He said he was an example of a patriot. All while having court cases of rape, child rape, sexual assault against minors. This is who is putting the pressure on these state leaders. Yeah, exactly, Sam. Nobody has to say so. And then people are so afraid of losing their jobs because he fires anybody who doesn't agree with him. I mean, if you are hired to be a public servant, do your job.
Right.
And people put you in office for a reason, thinking that you're going to do what you're supposed to do. But truth be told, politics is the worst crooks on the planet. But still, if you have duty to do, it doesn't matter who it is. Stand up for something, fall for anything. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
sit here, this man do all this crazy rhetoric he's doing. and carrying it out, causing world hate, trying to kill kids, and all these people that died in the U.S. because of him not implementing things that he should implement. Then he fired, or then he cut out the WHO. I mean, it's just so much shit that he's done that's like blatant. You know what I'm saying? Like, where they do that? And y'all know y'all 44 would have never got by with nothing.
In the United States, we do everything. That's the problem.
It's sad. Nita said, this echo getting my head, y'all. We have 2,400 students at my school. Most classes have 35 students or more in their classes of regular education. That's a lot of kids. And you think you changing classes and all these students.
And all these students is coming in contact. There is no way, even if you do class A, B, C, and D, you're not going to have social distancing like that.
We know we can't find where it's coming from.
Excuse me.
Right, Nita. She wants 45 to put his son in public schools. That'll never happen.
It's gonna be, I think this is gonna be that trial and that era that they're gonna have to see for themselves whether it's gonna work or not work.
Yep.
And the kids are probably gonna suffer in the process. And then you gotta ask yourself, your kids being promoted to the next grade, is it really valid that they're going? Because some kids probably didn't need to go that went. And who's really, they're learning virtually. I mean, they're flying through programs of work just to get a grade. Who's teaching them? They're not talking to anyone. It's like they're just going back and forth with teachers on virtual learning. I mean, I had to stay on jail, and he's in 11th grade, but I had to stay on him the whole year. From the time they put him out of school for the COVID, I had to be on his heels with, hey, get in them, get in them books. Remember to do your homework, because he was like, to him, it was free time. You know what I mean? Like the average kid that got out of school, it was like, oh, I'm on a free zone. I can just run. I can do what I want to do. I can be out here doing this. And if your parents are at work, who's really monitoring the kids and saying, this is what you have to do? You know what I'm saying? This is what you got to do. Nobody. Right. And the single parents that are out there. You have single parents that are out there that can't do it.
Right.
I
ran into a lot of that when I was helping with kids. Oh,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
I ran into a lot of that, when COVID first hit.
Go ahead, babe. Go ahead, speak.
Okay. We ran into a lot of that when COVID first hit, because parents didn't know what to do, because they weren't used to the Chromebooks. They didn't know how to relate to what the kid was going through in school for their homework or to get their work completed. And like you said, that's a constant thing to make sure that kid is doing what it's supposed to do. And you have to stay on them. And it's even harder on a single parent. When a single parent is mainly working all the time and not in tune with what the kid is doing on that computer.
Right.
And if you're not computer savvy, wow, that's the double whammy.
Right. Which is most parents, honey. Which is a lot of parents ain't savvy to this.
Them said we as parents, uncles, and cousins, family, gonna have to pull our resources and get our babies the education necessary. Well, it does start at home foremost. But like Shirley said, all this new math and all this kind of stuff, a lot of older parents are savvy to those things. Sylvia said, learn the hard way. And Nita said, you're right, Shelley. Even though we hate to test kids all the time, many students missing them now. So how will they get back into the swing of all that testing again once this is over? That's gonna be a test itself. It really is.
Very true. Now, I was laughing because there's some things that I cannot say. What you were saying, Shirley, but I'm laughing because I want to say something I can't say. But you're right. Parents had that issue about not understanding like common core. The only thing that everybody had in common that is not common math.
Right, I'm
So
telling
I'm
you,
gonna say it like that in a joking manner. That
the
was
math
everybody
was a
had
beast.
that in common. They didn't know what that was.
Right. And then like book reports that kids had to do, projects. I mean, it was like, when we was doing it here, me and Jalen, it was just like, I'm telling him one way, honey. He was like, Ma, that's not how you do it. That's not how we do it, and I'm like telling him, well, this is what I know. But his way was completely
Right.
just something I never seen. So I was like, baby, we better Google it then, because I don't know. I don't know. We're gonna Google this answer because I can't figure out what you're doing. Yeah,
Sam said, let's be honest. The U.S. education system is one of the worst in the world. We have time to educate ourselves and learn lock and step with our children. True. You got to start at home because a lot of parents send kids to school for the babysit. That's just the truth of the matter. So I mean, it's a whole lot of gray areas, but at the end of the day, they still should not reopen school soon.
yeah, I think they should wait, and I don't know about September either. I don't know if that's going to make it any better. Vonda, check your thing for me, please. I don't know if that's going to make it any better.
So I mean, we stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Well, maybe they'll just eventually shut everything down again. I think that's what's going to end up being forced to happen, because the governor's going to have to see, and hopefully a lot of people won't die in the process. The hospitals are overwhelmed. I work for them. I know they're very overwhelmed. There's no beds. There's no tests. There's so much going on, and then and to bring more people into that's a lot.
I was just getting ready to say just that. We better pray, because a lot of people, not only just the kids and the teachers are at risk, there are people that already have illnesses, that's autoimmune diseases and stuff, and they're very careful about what they're bringing to their family. Like you said, the elderly, people that have pre-existing illnesses, all of that is coming into play now when we're all coming back together, if we come back together. With North Carolina being one of the hotbeds of COVID now, hopefully we're going to pay attention in these 4 weeks and see that if the numbers keep rising, hopefully common sense will come into play, and there will not be a school session, and that will have to be we're going back into phase 1.
Right.
And that means remote learning, from home. What we've been doing all along since March 16th.
Well, at the end of the day, like I said, they should not be reopening schools anywhere, especially California, Texas, Florida, and now even us. And we're such a small place, they definitely don't need to open our schools back. I think they should start out with the virtual classrooms and continue that until further notice, period. Because, it is hard on the parents that have to go back to work or got to work still. And when they have younger kids and they don't have anybody to watch them and all that kind of thing, it's just difficult, and then all the resources that they were, given out at the beginning are no longer going to be available, because at the end of this month, the $600 for the unemployment is ending. So what are they to do? You know what I'm saying? So
I know what you're saying. Well, for yourself, a sister had to be creative to make this money last.
Right.
Cheesecakes on deck.
Right.
I could not just sit here and go, well,
Twiddle your
my
thumb.
savings is almost out. Yeah, what am I going to do? And
Mm-hmm.
instead of going out here begging and complaining and everything else, I use my resources and did what I needed to do.
And it really did force people to get up off their butt and create some things, because it's hard for everybody, but it forced everybody to get up and be creative and do something. Because
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
regardless of what's going on around you, you still have to live day to day. You still got children, you still got responsibilities, and those things have to be met. So you got to do what you got to
facts.
do. You know what I'm saying? So Nita said, believe it or
That's right.
not, a lot of us older teachers don't know how to use all the new virtual computer stuff. I'll be in classes all week, excuse me, y'all, trying to learn this Canvas, and it's driving me insane. I need a drink when I get off from there. Entire bottle. I bet, Nita. Hey, Melanie.
Bless your heart.
Hey, Burnell.
I
She said,
know.
I think if I was a teacher, I would try to get other teachers together, go to a gym or somewhere I'm reaching, and try and help these kids, because these kids are going to fall behind. We've got to get it together. I don't want my granddaughter going back because she has lupus, right? And she's very acceptable to catching this, and it scares me. Right. And they're not even thinking about the children with underlying health
Hmm.
issues. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of kids have health issues. You have kids with leukemia that's in public school, kids with, different types of
Right.
cancers, like she said, lupus, all types of things, asthma. Anything can go wrong. And then what? They're going to take them out of the school, and you're going to be there to fend for yourself, trying to take care of your child for something that they claim there's no cure for, you know? So it's like, you sliding down a slippery slope on a double-edged sword. Sam said, not doing something because we haven't done it perpetuates the cycle. True that. Melanie said, I think
True.
we will be back to phase one after Labor Day. I don't know about that, Melanie. Sylvia said, we all know somebody that's good in certain subjects, math, science, literature, right? Yeah, some people are good in a lot of things, but that doesn't mean that they're willing to put their life at
To
risk to
help.
help a child or help somebody.
Right. To help somebody.
Right. Um, Orlando said, we didn't even talk about college this week, dorm scholarships. Do they go back to campus? You're right, Orlando. We didn't touch on that, but I haven't heard anything as of right now from all my daughter's friends. A lot of them that are in colleges, as to what's going on with that. Renetta might know something about that, but I don't. Go ahead, Renetta.
Yeah, there's a lot of colleges that have literally said that they're not opening their doors. They are going to just do virtual classrooms. Now, like I said, there's a lot of them. You can go online. Because I've been noticing that all week in between making these cheesecakes and selling these cheesecakes out my door. There has been a lot of that going on. Colleges have really, really, really just shut it down, and they're doing virtual learning. So that's online. I do know that because I've been seeing different things on the news and things of that matter. So if your children are in college, I'm quite sure you should have heard by now. There's only a few that I know that are going to back in the classroom, but a lot of them are going into virtual learning.
Okay. Melanie said, my daughter will be attending virtual school to keep the consistency with her learning. And she said, I'm a first responders at my school and rethinking that situation. Right. Ask what, Sam? And
Hey, Melanie.
Melanie said, my son will be returning on next Thursday, and my son is attending Fayetteville State. So have they started classes at Fayetteville State, or they're going to do like Renetta said, do the virtual learning? And Sylvia said, what did they do back in the day? We had to keep our children. We just have to do our best. That's all we can do.
Yeah. And pray
Pray
that
for
they
the
just
best.
succeed.
Yeah, pray for the best, because you know it's so many people that's been lost to families that they relied on to help them. So if those people are now gone, who's gonna help them with this situation? It's difficult. Nita said Winston-Salem State is going in August, ending at Thanksgiving, and my cousin is nervous about her going. I don't blame her. And those are, young adults. When you think about college, those are young adults. They're still young people, but they're young
Right.
adults. And again, so many people have underlying issues, and most of the professors are up in age. So you have to think about all of that dynamic, because it's just hard to say what's going to happen. We don't know. We just thrown into like something in the dark and just trying to feel our way out. That's what it's like. Melanie said both of hers go August 5th, and the first day of classes start on August 5th. Sam said there's our educators right there. Ask our college students. Ask those people who are proficient in certain subjects to pitch in. Sam, you can still do that, but again, like I said, you have to think about, even if they're willing to do that, if people have certain underlying health issues, they're going to be skeptical, because the teachers that they're trying to force to go back now are scared to death. They don't want to go back, really.
To go back, right? They're afraid.
Right. They don't want to
But
go
they
back.
need their paycheck, honey. Everybody need a paycheck.
They need a paycheck, but they're also afraid of, what am I going to take back to my family? And because, a lot of teachers are younger, a lot of them in the high schools and middle schools, they have small children. So they're thinking like, well, what if I bring something home to my baby and they're too young to fight something off? You know what I'm saying? So just because you know something and you want to help, don't mean that it's smart for you to do it, because you have to think about everything that's involved in it. You know what I'm saying? And again, shout out to you, Renetta, for opening your doors to that. You know what I'm saying? Because
that's commendable.
Let's see. Orlando said, I'm not letting my daughter go back to Tennessee. The one at Tuskegee is getting an apartment with 3 friends. She's not moving into a dorm. I don't blame you, Orlando. And Burnell said, we have to come together as a community, because for a fact our kids will miss out the most out of everybody. Yeah.
True.
And Melanie said Fayetteville is leaving it to the students to monitor their own temperatures. Wow. And how many gonna check that?
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot that you have to think about.
Okay.
Go ahead, y'all. One of y'all.
Go ahead, Netta. Netta was saying something.
Okay. Yeah. And if we go into the schools, we had already been briefed about how temperatures would be taken by from the office staff and the nurses. They will check our temperatures as soon as we come in the building. Every child and every teacher.
Okay. Melanie said, I do the enrollment at my school, and I do it only by appointment. Okay. Well, that's good, Melanie. Sam, I'm talking about those who are adamant about remote learning. Oh, okay. Well, if it is virtual and remote learning, I'm sure everybody who's an educator or can help don't mind helping, if that's the case, because you're not in personal contact with anybody. So that's totally different. Nita said teachers are writing their wills. My doctor doesn't want me going in person and is writing me a letter stating so to my HR department. See, that shouldn't even be an issue.
That's crazy. That's just crazy. And it's sad.
It's very sad, but that should not even be an issue. Like, so Renetta, how do you feel about going back into the classroom?
Wow. That's all I can say to that is wow. Like I said, I'm not a kind of person that never thought I would have to think I'm going to risk my life in order for children to get education. I never had to even, that had never crossed my mind ever. I love kids.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same aspect, I have to really think about this, because because I don't want to, I got 2 grown children. I love my 2 children, but I've seen maybe my daughter maybe twice, and my son and I FaceTime often. And that's crazy when I'm used to seeing them at least every week. That's just crazy that the world we live in right now is a life or death situation, just to if you choose to have physical contact even with your family. Now, teachers and educators, yeah, teachers and educators have another kind of bond with every child that they come in contact with on a regular basis. So when we were doing those car parades for the kids, just because we hadn't seen them, or special things what we did just to say we care for you. We want to know what you're doing. We want to know, are you all right? Because even though through this pandemic, what we're not saying is there are some kids that are being abused. There are some kids that are missing a meal.
Yep.
There's a kid that doesn't have that encouraging word. So at least when they were with me, they had that encouraging word. And every now and then I
Right.
took it upon myself. Like I said, I posted it. I made sure they had a great meal. I did, I didn't charge them extra for that. If there was some that I sponsored, I didn't charge them all. So you have to think about that aspect too, because these parents are at their wits' end with focusing on I got to work to provide. So
Right.
that's the
Right.
side I came to it on, and decided to do it just because some of those kids needed that. They needed to get out of the house. They needed to have another adult to say, "Hey, I'm here for you."
Right.
So that's where I was with it. And to God be the glory. I don't have anything, and I'm going to keep praying that that's what God gives me, His protection. If we have to go back in the school building,
Right. And not to mention
that's
Right.
where I am with it.
that
And to
might have been
cover
the only
you.
meals they
Yeah.
had provided for some, you know, because a lot of students, kids depend on these school meals just to eat. And then when the
Yep.
weekend
Yep.
comes, they might not eat again until Monday when school starts back. You know what I'm
When
saying?
school starts for the
Exactly.
free
So
lunch program.
yeah, because I know up here, a lot of schools or whatever were taking lunches around to certain neighborhoods and houses and stuff. But I don't know if they've continued to do that. So you got to
See,
think, you
yeah.
got children out here starving, getting abused, suicide rates, all types of stuff because of this thing. And it's just so sad and so tragic, and it just really really breaks my heart because I hate to see anybody suffer. I don't care who it is. I just
Yeah.
especially the kids, because I love the kids. That just does something to
Yeah.
me.
Jalen School did that. They do and they kept it going, which was good because, like I said, Jalen goes to an immigration school, immigrant school, and they kept the food bank going. So they have a truck that comes once a week that provides bread, peanut butter, cereal, the stuff that you
The
would get that you
necessity.
need to stick in, yeah, to stick in your stomach. But they did keep that up the whole time this COVID took place. So at least those kids were able to eat, you know. And you, like you said, it's hard. A lot of the people that go to jail and school, they live in the hotels on Memorial Drive. They're struggling.
Mm,
I'm not going to say the school name, but they're going through what they're going through. And then you see people out here that aren't willing to help, which is kind of crazy. And even the littlest way possible that you can help somebody, do that. It's not so hard. It's not so hard to open your house to someone to say, hey, let me help you through something. Isn't that what it's about?
it's supposed to be about. Nita said they want our teachers and parents to fill out a wellness how they feel. And everyone be trusted to complete these forms properly every morning and tell the truth about how they feeling instead of knowing that they have to come to get their check. You got to think about that too.
Right.
So and again, that's a slippery slope because everybody may not tell the truth. They may be feeling bad, but they know that mortgage is due, that car payment due, the light bill, water bill, all this stuff is due, and they still trying to press on and go to work knowing that they're sick. You would hope they wouldn't, but you don't know if they would tell the truth or not. You know what I'm saying? So it's it's
Right.
it's, it's crazy. And Melanie, that's what Renetta was talking about, Melanie. She said they have three options up here as far as the school year starting. Um, she said,
Yes.
has the
That
schools made a
Melanie.
decision?
Yeah, Melanie. Yeah, right now, Melanie. The first 4 weeks in here, first 4 weeks there will be remote learning. So 4 weeks from August 17th, they're going to make the decision then whether we go back into the school or we continue remote learning from home. So right now, for the first 4 weeks, Hickory will be doing remote learning.
Okay. Sam said he's getting ready to pull his family in on a group chat. That's a good idea, Sam, especially if you have young kids. Burnell said, if there's anything I can do, please let me know. I'm here. Don't have nothing but time for these kids. Well, that's good, Burnell. That
Yeah, this
is.
is the stuff you should post probably on your Facebook page. Post it. Let put the message out there. Post it on Shelly Live and V Lovebird. Hey, I'm willing to help if you live in Hickory or somewhere in North Carolina. Realms, you need help with your kids. If I'm opening up my house, I mean, of course, you can't take everybody in, but the ones you can help that will fall behind. There are kids that are going to fall behind.
They
Period.
need a meal
You
or
know,
something.
they need something. I mean, give the hand that you can give if you can give it.
Sam said we're gonna have to do something for our own. And Nita said, you're right, Renetta. These children do depend on us, and it hurts me to my heart that I can't be there for them right now. If I didn't have an autoimmune low immunity myself, I would rather go back and teach my students in person. But I love me too, and my mom lives in the house with me. She is at that critical age. Yeah, Nita, and that's what I was saying earlier. They don't know, because a lot of people will still take care of our teachers, but they take care of their elderly parents or their grandparents. So
Right.
they're not taking into consideration if they're going back into these schools. And then, like Nita says, she takes care of her mother. Her mother lives with her, and she takes something back to her. And she's at, a good age right now herself. So with her own immune system being compromised. So it's just so many
Mm-hmm.
negatives for them to do this. You know what I'm saying? So I just think, in my opinion, that they should not open these schools yet. They should do the virtual learning, the virtual classrooms until they get something in place, a vaccine, something in place
Something
to
that can
where
help the
right,
situation.
until people feel safe enough to go back to work completely, comfortable enough to send their children back to school, and the teachers first and foremost to be willing to go back to teach these kids. Because if something happens to the teachers, then what's going to happen to the kids?
And what's going to happen to the
Other than
students?
right, and until and then most parents got to go to work, and like you said earlier, a lot of them don't even know this stuff that they're teaching in the classrooms. So
Yeah.
again,
And then,
it
it's sad about the kids that can't even walk, that couldn't go to their, didn't grant they
yeah,
from these kids, that things they look forward to, that give them that
absolutely.
that drive to want to continue, like do their best because they're going and they're getting their honors and their parents are screaming and you got people coming out of state. A lot of stuff was taken, their proms was taken away it just stopped. It was like everything was just abrupt. And
They
then you're
missed
thinking this
everything.
year it's going to kind of be the same thing.
Melanie said our county would be on A and B cohort 2 days and 3 days remote, 50% capacity. That's kind of what Renetta was saying earlier, Melanie. And Nita said the schools are providing breakfast and lunches for students during the school year. Well, y'all, we are over as usual, but this has been a great topic. And like Shelly said, if you can help a child, help the child. If they need a meal, if they need something, kind of open up. If you got to meet them somewhere, buy them something from McDonald's, whatever you got to do, we all have to come together and help do that. Especially when you're in
And
the
reach out
position
to the
to.
schools, reach out to the schools if you're a parent that can do a little extra. I mean, it's not saying everybody can, but if you can, reach out to these school systems and say, hey, I'm willing to take a kid or two in my home and help them get through their classes and use my internet, like, kind of like Netta did. You gotta if you're gonna stand for something, stand for something. You know what I mean? Don't talk about everything you're gonna do and do nothing. Do something.
And again, even with that, you still got to be careful who you bring to the house, because you don't know where these kids are coming from. You want to help, but you got to be smart about
Mhm.
helping them. You know what I'm saying? You just can't
Right,
like,
right.
or even it's still hot outside. If you don't want somebody in your house, set up something outside, and you can do the social distancing and still help them outside or whatever, feed them, whatever you got to do. It's something that can be done. And like you said, if you got a little bit of extra, because every little bit helps. It don't matter what it is. Something
Right.
helps somebody. It doesn't matter how big or how small. And if we're able
Be a
to do
part of the solution. You know what I'm saying? Be a part of the solution.
right,
There's a
and if
lot
we're
of people out here just selfish. Be a part of the solution.
right, and if we're able to do anything, no matter how big or small, I just feel like we should do that human beings, period. Melanie said no one is going to sub this year because the majority are elder. Sam said, I'm gonna read these last comments, y'all, and we're gonna go ahead and get off this live. Sam said this has been a subject that's heavy on my heart, and I'm struggling with doing a live video addressing some in the Ridgeview community. It's really important over there, Sam. Like, serious. So Renetta will tell you that, attest to that. You know, in our community, the Ridgeview area and all of that stuff is critical, like really critical, because a lot of those kids over there are being raised by their grandparents, and you know good well the grandparents don't know a whole
Can't do it.
lot of this stuff, right? Nita said they're having a graduation ceremony for our students on August 6th in 4 sessions. Well, that's good. And Sylvia said, thank you. She said, well, y'all wants us to be safe and God bless. Same to you, Peanut. And
same to you, hon.
Nita said, you're right, Melanie. No subs will be available. They can't be available. So, you know. Well, y'all, with that being said, you know, just think about all of this and, you know, all the pros and cons, which is more cons and pros in this case. Pray for our teachers, pray for our children, pray for the families, and, you know, just pray for everybody, because we really need to stay prayed up during this time, because, you know, things are not getting any better right now. But, you know, God has the last say so, and, you know, and whatever's in his will, that is what will happen. But we got to stay prayed up and just take care of everybody, because, you know, these people are not thinking about us, and, you know, it's hitting the minorities more so than anybody that, you know, the urban communities, which is us. And, you know, so, hey, we got to do what we got to do, and, you know, just take care of one another. With that being said, I love you all. Thank you, Renetta, for coming on our live and short.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Knowledge and
thank you, ladies, for having me. Thank you.
You're so welcome, hun. Thank you.
Go ahead and plug your cheesecake. Yes,
tell me about your cheesecake.
I'm still taking orders for this week.
What?
Go ahead, babe. Go ahead.
Shelly?
No, I said go tell them about your cheesecake. I said tell them about your cheesecake.
Oh, okay. I've been doing the different lives and everything, so that I'm doing a couple of new ones again. But the cheesecake sales are going very, very well. If you can see my videos, I'm doing social distancing. They come in the door, they come to the counter, they go back out the door as soon as they get their cheesecake. So I'm giving away a cheesecake on July 30th. I'm giving away a ginger spice peach Hennessy big cheesecake. If you are sharing my videos, yes, if you are sharing my videos and giving word of mouth for more sales, I'm giving away a big one, ginger spice peach Hennessy cheesecake. So I'm giving away on July 30th. Why July 30th? That's my son's birthday. He will be 30 years old. Ravonna, can you believe
awesome.
That? No. Happy early birthday, Navarre.
Sure. Yes.
It's coming
July 30th. So I'm gonna give
and so will Jalen. Jalen will be 17.
Yep.
Jalen will be 17 July 30th too.
Huh?
My son will be 17 July 30th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Sam,
he will,
thanks
honey.
God for blessing and peace and blessings. Same to you, Sam. And go ahead and do that live with your family and discuss, you know, what you think may be best for your kids during this time with them going back to school, because I know you said they're school age. So yeah, you got to make sure you put your 2 cents in on that one. So with that being said, y'all, we love you guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram, Naughty Nice 22. We love y'all, love y'all, love y'all. We will see you again on Wednesday. Don't forget to send in your requests for topics that you want us to discuss. And again, we thank Miss Renetta Hamrick for joining our live tonight. And loving life, loving what we do. Shelly Live. Go ahead and say what you got to say, girl.
Pieces, everybody. Y'all have a good one. I'm tired.
You said that like.
And here we go, y'all. Hey. We are getting ready to roll it out, baby. We're gonna let it do what it do. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're now tuned into Naughty or Nice. Let's go.
Me don't want no fake love, me only want the real deal. Me don't want no fake love, me only want the real deal. Me don't want no fake love, me only want the real deal.
Line,
want no fake love,
and
we only want the
V-Love.
real deal.
Have you ever met a sister with her shit together? Maintaining, never complaining, trying to make shit better. She's got a real good life with the right frame of mind. She's the real deal, baby, and she know how to grind. On the job or in the bedroom, baby, the truth. And with her by your side, homeboy, you can't lose. Just slip on the dress and go to work like a pro. Then bring that ass home and drop it down to the floor. Educated, sophisticated, conversation so deep. She's a lady in that world, but a freak in the sheets. Educated, sophisticated, conversation so deep. She's the lady in that world, but a freak in the sheets.
Shelly Line and V-Love Bird.
Shelly Line and V-Love Bird.
Shelly Line and V-Love Bird.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Shelly Line and V-Love Bird.
Shelly Line and V-Love Bird.
Shelly Line and V-Love.
All right. Okay. Well, I love you. All right. Bye.